Welcome to part 3 of this mini-series. If you want the backstory, consider watching parts 1 and 2 linked in the description. Thumbs up this video and consider subscribing. Now, onto the story. The city had long since quieted, its towers lit like watchful sentinels against the black sky. Amara sat at her dining table, papers neatly stacked, a candle burning low beside her. She was tired, but excited for what her future held. She was making progress in her career, and her goals were clicking into place like Legos. Her phone vibrated across the table. The screen glowed. Unknown caller. She hesitated to answer, but something in her gut told her to let it go to voicemail. If it's important, they'll leave a message, she thought to herself. Moments later, the vibration came again. Insistent, persistent. She picked up and heard a familiar, deep, rumbling voice. Carter's voice was smooth and deliberate.
Still burning the midnight oil, I see. Some things never change.
What do you want, Carter?
Straight to business. I'm glad to see that you haven't changed. I was thinking about you tonight. About how I miss your talents here at Arch Capital. I've been hearing through the grapevine of how cozy you and Preston Holt have been getting. Holt parades you like one of his acquisitions, doesn't he? Smart, beautiful, but never fully his equal.
I am not anyone's parade piece. You of all people should know that. Preston and I have a professional relationship, and that's all that needs to be said about that.
You could be so much more, Amaro. With me, you wouldn't just manage projects, you'd manage empires. Arch Capital is not as massive and prolific as Black Data, but we're still a global force to be reckoned with. You deserve more than Holt's shadow.
Is that what this is, Carter? Are you calling me because you're jealous of my professional relationship with Preston? Or are you trying to convince me to doubt him because it won't work?
Then let me clarify what this is, Amara. Not too long ago, you agreed to work at Black Data and provide me with inside information. Sure, you didn't follow through, but nonetheless, you conspired with me. I still have the paper trail, the receipts, footage of our kiss. All very persuasive if one wanted to raise questions about your loyalty. I could keep these receipts locked away, undercover, but only if you cooperate. Come back to Arch Capital, Amara. Come back to me.
I never betrayed anyone. You know that. Why would I cooperate with you if I've done nothing wrong? I'm not leaving Black Data.
I want what I want, and I'll use my leverage to get it. Your intention doesn't matter because paper speaks louder. Holt values truth, doesn't he? If he learns that his precious, innocent Amara is actually my personal spy inside Black Data, you won't have many options left.
What are you asking for?
Don't pretend you don't know. Walk away from him. Choose me, choose Arch Capital. You won't regret it.
I already do.
Amara hung up the phone with the weight of Carter's threats laying heavy on her heart. Morning light streamed through the vast glass windows of Black Data's offices. The city below bustled, but inside, the air was tense, silent, except for the clack of keyboards and muted phone calls. Amara stood near the window wall, her coffee untouched. Her reflection in the glass looked like a stranger. Tired eyes, shoulders drawn tight. Her phone buzzed in her blazer pocket. It was Elaine, and much welcomed, steady and reassuring voice.
Carter called, didn't he?
He wants me back at Arch Capital. He also wants me in every sense of the word. And if I don't agree, he says he'll send everything to Preston. All the old emails, all the agreements I never followed through on, and security camera footage of the one kiss we shared. He doesn't care that he's ruining my life.
With Carter, leverage is more useful than truth. He'll continue to twist his leverage until it cuts the deepest. That's who he is, but you're not defenseless. The first rule with men like him, don't let them own your story. If he plans to send those papers, you beat him to it. You have to present your version, your narrative first.
You mean tell Preston myself?
Yes, before Carter turns your story into something dirty and dishonest. Preston is not Carter. He'll understand. I know that Preston values you as a person and not just as a professional. You may think truth would make him walk away, but it won't. It will draw him closer to you. You can't fight Carter by yourself in the shadows. You need Preston on your side to fight back.
I don't know if I can. I've worked so hard to prove myself, to move forward. What if telling Preston ruins everything?
Not telling him and allowing him to find out from Carter will ruin everything. Preston doesn't respect masks and hidden agendas. He respects people who own their choices, their truth, and even their mistakes. If you let Carter play puppeteer, you'll lose.
You're right. I just need some time to figure out what I'm going to say and when I'm going to say it. But in the meantime, Carter is escalating the situation, and he wants an answer now.
Then you have to go to Preston immediately.
I'll try. I'll think about it.
You deserve someone in your corner. I'll be here if you need me.
Thank you, Elaine. It means the world to me.
The house stood on a hill outside the city, all glass and polished stone, glowing against the night. The kind of wealth that didn't need to shout. Amara's car pulled up the long drive. Her pulse thudded in her ears. She told herself she was here to end this, nothing more. Inside, Carter greeted her in a foyer that smelled faintly of cedar and money. He wore a white-collared shirt, and his smile was romantic and easy.
You came. I knew you would. You've always made solid decisions.
Say what you need to say. I don't plan on staying long.
You're tense. Relax. This doesn't have to be adversarial. I wanted us to talk like civilized people. Two leaders, two equals. I want to build with you, Amara, not bring each other down.
Equals don't blackmail each other, and they certainly don't threaten to ruin the other.
I don't call it blackmail. I call it reminding you of what's at stake. Preston Holt is not the only man with vision. You think he'll let you rise. He'll keep you as long as you're useful. But with me, you'd never play second.
Oh, that's an interesting choice of words. Let's unpack that. You're married, Carter. Everything and everyone would come second to your wife. And let's not kid ourselves in thinking that you'll leave your wife for me. I'm not second to anyone, and I certainly don't want to be anyone's side piece.
Whoa, easy there. Let's prove it to each other. Step away from Holt and I'll make steps toward ending my marriage. I'll give you everything he never can. Security power, a place where no one questions you.
You can't rewrite history. You tried to make me a spy. I refused. That's the only truth that matters.
Intentions don't matter in business. Paper and evidence matters.
He reached for a paper file box on the console and slid it open. Inside were neat stacks of files, some with her name highlighted.
I have everything, all the evidence. Even the night you kissed me and pulled away like you regretted it. To Preston, it won't matter why. It only matters that it happened.
You won't break me with half-truths. I won't give you what you want.
For a long moment, silence hung heavy. Then Carter's mask cracked. His glass slammed against the counter, shattering.
You're making a mistake. Get out.
Amara turned on her heel and left, her breath shallow, her hands trembling. She pulled out of Carter's driveway and drove down the street before parking her car. In the car parked, she felt the weight of the mounting secrets. The Federal Detention Center's facade was cold and formal under the morning light. Whispers rippled through the lobby as Carter strode in, his presence cutting through the quiet like a blade. He signed the necessary documents, his movements efficient, controlled. The officer went to retrieve Giselle from her holding cell.
Thorne! Thorne! Get your belongings. Your husband is here to pick you up.
When Giselle stepped out from the back, her eyes locked on him. For a moment, the world shrank to just the two of them.
You didn't have to do this yourself. You could have sent your assistant to get me out.
Of course I did. No one else has the nerve to handle you, and you know my assistant doesn't like you.
Her lips curled into a smile, sharp, knowing. She slipped her arm through his, as natural as breathing. Together, they left the building. In the back seat of the car, the air between them was heavy but not brittle. It was the weight of strategy, of shared ambition, of two people who had built empires side by side.
We've suffered a setback. Amara refused to be your spy, and I was caught. Black Data has betrayed me and thinks they've stripped me of power.
Minor setbacks don't last. They never do. You and I, we recover just like we've always had.
She's no longer our spy. She's Holt's darling now, which means we need another path in.
Then we take the long game. Black Global thinks they've won, but empires don't hold forever. And Amara, she's still vulnerable. Every choice she's made leaves a trail that we can use as leverage.
Giselle leaned against him, her head resting briefly on his shoulder. Her eyes closed, not in weakness, but in trust. She believed in Carter, more than he believed in her. And though she knew his gaze was set on winning over Amara, she never allowed it to fracture what they were building.
Then let's rebuild. Stronger, sharper. We won't just take back what we lost. We'll take everything.
The car moved through the city, carrying two conspirators bound by power, ambition, and a love that was both dangerous and unstable. The evening had begun with restaurant bills with late-night timestamps, wine for two and VIP upgrades, a diamond bracelet gift receipt left in Carter's study, slipped into a file of innocuous expenses. Giselle hadn't meant to find it, but the name written clearly in neat script stopped her heart cold. Amara Thompson. The bracelet described wasn't her style, and Carter knew that she would never wear something so extravagant. Later came the footage, delivered discreetly by the head of their household staff. Giselle had pressed play on the tablet and watched, expression unreadable, as Carter poured wine for Amara in one of their private homes. The angle shifted, showing them laughing, leaning closer, and then the kiss. For a long moment, Giselle sat motionless, the screen's glow reflecting in her eyes. She felt the sting of betrayal, sharp and deep, but she didn't storm or scream. That wasn't her way.
So it's true. You don't want me anymore, Carter. You want her, the little intern who thought she could dance in our world.
Her fingers tightened around the tablet, not with the intent to throw it, but to hold on to the evidence, to absorb every detail. Carter's infatuation with Amara wasn't speculation anymore. It was undeniable. But Giselle was not the kind of woman who confronted her husband with jealousy. Their bond was made of harder stuff. They were cut from the same cloth, ruthless, ambitious, pragmatic.
You can have his attention, Amara. You can steal a moment in one of my homes. But his empire, our empire, that will never be yours, you bitch. Never.
In that quiet, the betrayal transformed into resolve. Giselle would not fight Carter for his fidelity. That battle was beneath her. Instead, she would channel every ounce of fury into dismantling Amara's life, her career, and her love of Preston Holt. If Carter saw Amara as irresistible, then Giselle would make her radioactive. She would make her sure Carter would want nothing to do with Amara. From that night on, every cold dismissal, every cutting remark at Black Data had been sharpened by the memory of that kiss. Giselle didn't just want Amara gone. She wanted her ruined. The Thorne Willis estate was quiet, the kind of silence that followed storm winds. Giselle found herself obsessed with Carter's infatuation with Amara. She sat alone in Carter's study, a glass of wine untouched beside her, her fingers tracing the edge of the tablet that still held the incriminating footage. Giselle stared at them, her reflection staring back in the dark glass of the monitor. She didn't cry. Giselle was not a woman to waste herself on theatrics. Love bound her to Carter, yes. But if his affection had strayed, it would not undo her resolve. She had always loved him more than he loved her, and she had long ago accepted that imbalance. But Amara? Amara would pay for every ounce of humiliation. One by one, Giselle began assembling the evidence into a neat black envelope. The gift receipts and the emails suggesting Amara's initial willingness to act as Arch Capital's informant. The stills of the kiss. She placed them carefully, each piece a blade in the arsenal she was crafting.
Preston Holt lives and dies by integrity. What will he do when the woman he adores is revealed as a liar? What will happen to their perfect little romance when he sees proof she let herself be compromised by my husband?
She sealed the envelope with a deliberate press of her hand. Then she prepared a second, identical package. One addressed to Preston Holt and one to Amara Thompson.
You can have his attention, Amara. But I will take everything else. Your career, your credibility, your love. And when I'm finished, you'll have nothing left but regret.
She leaned back in the chair, sipping the wine now, the venom in her plan warming her like fire. Arch Capital overlooked the city, glass walls reflecting the sprawl of towers glowing in the distance. Carter stood near the bar, drink in hand, his posture relaxed but his eyes distant, calculating. Giselle entered quietly, her silk dress trailing behind her, a vision of poise. She poured herself a glass of wine and sat near the window. For a moment, they stood in silence, two shadows united by ambition.
We've always been at our best when the world is against us.
You think the world is against us now?
Amara chose black data. I got caught. They'll think they've won, but they're wrong. We're not finished.
Carter studied her, his jaw tightening. He didn't speak of Amara, but Giselle could feel her in the silence. She knew his obsession. She had seen it in his eyes, in the receipts, in the kiss she hadn't witnessed firsthand but couldn't erase from her mind. Still, she didn't lash out at him. She never had. Carter was her partner, her axis, and if his gaze wandered, she would tighten their circle another way.
You want her. I know that. But don't confuse wanting her and wanting Black Global. You and I have a goal and we can't afford you losing focus. We endure. She could never.
Carter turned, finally meeting her eyes. There was no apology there. No denial. Only the tacit acknowledgement that she knew him too well.
Do what you need to do. I'll stand behind you, Giselle.
And she would. Giselle Thorne had no intention of fighting for her husband's fidelity. She would fight for their empire, for the love she still clung to, and for the destruction of Amara Thompson. Morning light streamed into Amara's apartment, soft and golden, until it was broken by the thud of a package against her door. She pulled it inside absent-mindedly, balancing her coffee in one hand, and set it on the table. The envelope was black and ominous, her name written in sharp, deliberate script. Amara slid it open, and the world seemed to unravel in her hands. Inside were the receipts, Carter's purchases bearing her name, the still security photos from the private home she should never have stepped foot inside. And the worst, clear video stills of her and Carter sharing a kiss, his hand cupping her body in a way that made her stomach twist with shame. The papers scattered across Amara's kitchen table, stark black ink against the pale wood. Her coffee sat forgotten, growing cold. Each page screamed louder than the last. Receipts, emails, the still image of a kiss she wished she could erase from memory. Her pulse raced. Her breath came shallow, quick. She pressed her palms flat against the table, grounding herself.
No, oh God, please, no, this isn't happening.
Amara was devastated by the envelope's contents. Her first instinct was denial. to tell herself that Preston might never open his package, that he might dismiss it as slander. But Preston Holt was meticulous, and she knew he would read every page. Her phone buzzed, a new email notification lighting the screen. Her stomach flipped. But it wasn't Preston. It was her assistant, asking about a meeting later that day. Relief surged, then guilt followed, heavy and sharp. She sat down, burying her face in her hands. Across the city, in his office at Black Data, Preston Holt stood by his desk, the same black envelope in his hands. His expression was unreadable, but his silence was deafening. An email arrived just after noon, a clean official line cutting through the clutter of Amara's inbox. The subject was simple. Travel. Oceana K. Immediate. For a moment she only stared, pulse thudding in her ears. Her resignation sat in HR's queue, and surely this was the summons before the blast. Amara forced herself to click and open the email. She feared what was included. The email said, Black Global requests your immediate presence on Oceana K for a debrief with Preston Holt. A car will collect you at 7 a.m. tomorrow. She closed her laptop and pressed both hands to her eyes until sparks flared. Back at Amara's home, she packed slowly for the next day's travel, choosing pieces with precision. Her journal slid into the tote last. When she finally lay down, the apartment was hushed, shadows breathing up the walls. Sleep didn't come. Memories did. She remembered Carter and the taste of regret. The heavy black envelope on her table. Preston's laugh the night they cooked together in her kitchen. The kindness in his eyes and the laughs they shared. The car came in a fog-blue dawn, silent and immaculate. The driver offered a warm greeting and little else, and Amara was grateful for the quiet. At the private hangar, the jet gleamed like a promise. Inside, the cabin smelled faintly of citrus and polished wood. Staff moved with soft efficiency. Tea poured, a light breakfast set, a cashmere throw draped over the armrest.
Ms. Thompson, would you prefer green tea or chai?
Chai, please. Light honey.
Amara sipped her chai tea in an effort to calm her nerves. She slipped the seatbelt across her lap and opened her journal. The pages breathed back at her, a soft paper heartbeat. Clouds unwound beneath the jet like silver ribbon. She remembered the first dinner with Carter, how he had watched every detail, how he had made danger sound like safety. She remembered walking away and feeling both proud and stained. She remembered Preston on the sidewalk in a worn parka, and how his eyes had looked like they could see through masks.
Would you like something to help you rest?
No, thank you. I don't think I could, even if I wanted to right now.
The island appeared through the window, like a painting unexpectedly alive. Turquoise water, pale stone, a sweep of green. Amara closed her journal and slipped it back in the tote like a secret she might still need to defend. Amara arrived at the corporate villa that sat above the waterline, all white lines and glass, sun pooled across the terrace like melted gold. Amara climbed the stone steps and paused at the threshold, her heart pounding in anticipation of the upcoming conversation. A staff member opened the door with a quiet welcome and guided her through a majestic hallway to a balcony that smelled of sea salt and gardenia. Preston waited there, framed by ocean light. No suit jacket, sleeves rolled, and his posture precise. He turned when he heard her step, eyes unreadable, anger cooled into authority.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for asking me.
They stood as if there were a sea between them. Two people measuring the distance the black envelopes had placed between them.
I received a package. A black envelope with your name threaded through it.
So did I.
And your resignation hit HR before noon.
I thought it would spare you the performance of firing me.
The faintest wince crossed his face.
Have a seat.
They took their places at a low table set with water and a folder. The island air lifted a curl of Amara's hair and laid it against her cheek.
I'm going to ask you direct questions, and I expect direct answers.
Absolutely, Preston, you'll have them.
Did you agree to spy on Black Data for the benefit of Arch Capital?
Yes, I did agree. I was cornered and stupid and thought I could control the situation. I withdrew before I ever fed them anything.
Did you kiss Carter?
Yes, but only once. I regretted it immediately, and I left soon after. I never let it happen again.
Do you have romantic feelings for Carter?
No.
Silence hummed. A bird flew past, its shadow slipping over the tile at their feet.
Good, now listen to me.
He slid the black envelope across the table and opened it so the contents faced her. Receipts, stills, emails. He didn't watch the pages, but instead he watched her.
This is a narrative engineered to break you, Amara, and by extension, me. It's designed for optics, not truth. I know the difference. I know this isn't you. This is Carter's work.
Then why summon me like this, Preston? I haven't been able to sleep. I couldn't eat. I've been a frazzled mess.
Because I needed to hear your voice say it. Not to test you, to mark this moment as a line we don't cross again. No secrets between us going forward, not one.
Her throat tightened. The wind glossed her eyes.
I was wrong to hide this from you, Preston. I couldn't bear the thought of disappointing you. I thought the past would poison our future.
Truth only poisons when it arrives late.
He placed a second envelope on the table. Heavier, cream paper thick as consequence.
Here, open this.
Her fingers slipped under the flap nervously. She silently prayed that there weren't more incriminating documents. Legal documents unfolded like a map. She read the title twice before she understood what they were. Acquisition Agreement, Arch Capital. Share Transfer, 100% ownership to Amara Thompson.
This can't. How?
Black Global executed a hostile takeover. I structured the aftermath. You are now the sole shareholder of Arch Capital. You own it 100%.
This is unbelievable, Preston. Why me?
Because Carter weaponized you. Because you chose integrity when it could have cost you everything. Because I do not intend to love a woman who lives under a man like Carter's shadow.
The word hung between them. Love. It altered the air. It altered everything.
So you knew all along?
I knew. I saw Carter's angle while investigating Giselle. Later, I saw your journal in your home office. I have to admit that I read it cover to cover. I didn't intend to read it, but I did. I learned you were trying to find a way out, not a way in.
You still invited me in.
I invited the woman you are, not the mistakes you made.
Her composure broke with quiet grace. She pressed her palms to the table to steady herself.
What do you need from me now?
Courage and precision. I'll handle Carter, but I need you to handle Arch Capital from the inside. We finish this together.
They embraced and erupted into laughter and relief as they reunited. They moved inside when the sun sharpened. Lunch arrived and sat untouched while they talked. Words were the meal, honesty the wine that loosened what had been knotted too long.
I hate that you saw the worst chapter of me on paper.
I saw the chapter where you turned the page.
Days later, at Arch Capital's executive floor, Carter paced in his office, phone to his ear, the city below etched in light.
Preston, we both know you can't hold this position forever. Sit down with me. Let's negotiate assets I need to keep Arch Capital.
Preston's voice on the other end was cool, distant.
I understand. Some changes to my schedule have come up, so I won't be joining you in today's transfer meeting. I'll be sending the 100% shareholder in my place.
Send the real decision maker, Holt, not some silent investor.
I intend to.
The line went dead. Carter set the phone on his desk with meticulous care. Giselle watched him with her arms crossed, red hair aflame in the morning light.
He's baiting you. Don't you see? He plans to draw this out and make it as painful as possible. He wants us to beg for our own company back.
He's bluffing. Makes no sense for Black Global to have an interest in Arch Capital. He'll give in if we make the right offer.
Then why does your jaw look like you're chewing glass?
This ends today. Whoever he sends, we break them and send them back crying.
Whoever he sends won't be ready for the both of us. This is our game, and we make the rules.
They took their places at the head of the boardroom table. Around them, executives settled with guarded faces. A clock whispered toward the hour. Somewhere in the building, the elevator chimed. The boardroom doors opened on a slice of silence. Heels clicked against stone, unhurried, exact. Amara stepped into the room in a stunning power suit that made her look sharper than a razor's edge. She set a leather folder on the table and looked Carter in the eye.
Good morning. Have a seat.
For a heartbeat, Carter didn't breathe. He had expected a lawyer, a lieutenant, not the woman he'd tried to turn into his mistress.
You don't belong in this room.
On the contrary, not only do I belong in this room, I own this room. It belongs to me now.
Shocked rumblings and hushed murmurs rippled through the boardroom. Giselle's mouth thinned, that cold, beautiful face going sharper.
What game is this?
The final one. Black Global acquired controlling interests in Arch Capital. The resulting transfer of ownership is complete.
She opened the folder and turned the documents outward. The top page gleamed with official seals and signatures.
As of 8 a.m. yesterday, I hold 100% of Arch Capital.
Silence detonated. Carter reached for the papers with a hand that didn't quite shake.
Impossible. Holt would never...
Giselle took a step forward, hatred distilled into something almost elegant.
We won't allow it. This won't happen.
You mistook my humility for weakness. You've been outplayed, Giselle. It's happening. It's happened. You're done. You're both done.
She turned then, not to Carter or Giselle, but to the executives around the table whose eyes had already begun to calculate survival.
I'm not here to burn your work. I'm here to rebuild what your leadership scorched. There will be audits and accountability, but there will also be room to excel without fear or fraud. If you want a war, I challenge you to bring it. If you want a future, I suggest you get on board.
3 heads nodded before anyone realized they had. The rest followed with the slow gravity of people reading their own rescue. She gathered the documents, closed the folder, and looked at Carter one last time.
Security will coordinate a transition schedule. Your access ended 10 minutes ago.
She left the room in the same precise rhythm she'd entered, the sound of her leaving more powerful than any slam. The corridor outside the boardroom held its breath. Preston waited by the window, hands in his pockets, a quiet smile in his eyes. When Amara stepped out, the air shifted as if the building itself recognized a new gravity.
How did it feel?
Invigorating. I loved every minute.
He reached for her hand. She let him take it, and for a moment they stood there like 2 survivors on the front lines.
You did great. I'm proud of you.
They walked together toward the elevator, past the chrome letters now reflecting new light. Somewhere behind them, a door opened. Giselle stood watching them with a composed expression, but buried beneath was fury.
This isn't the end.
Amara turned without fear, but with a calm that came from finally standing on ground she owned. With her hand in Preston's, there was nothing the two couldn't overcome.